to this relationship between them. An unguarded, unvarnished window into the relationship between these three people. Is there anything in any of those conversations that shows George Anthony as anything other than a loving father and a loving grandfather who is out of his mind with worry over Kaylee and perplexed as to why his daughter won't tell them something? Throughout all of these conversations, he is supportive, he is helpful to Kaylee, to Casey, he's loving to her. She even says to him on more than one occasion, when he expresses some guilt about not having been a better father, she says to him over and over again, "You were the best dad. You were a great dad. You were a great grandfather." There's nothing in any of those tapes that would suggest in any way that he's setting her up in some bizarre fashion. Most of her more frictional relationship is with her mother. Most of the arguments, to the extent that they occur, are with her mother, not with her father. You know, remember the thumb? George is the thumb. We're the five fingers and George is the thumb. It's almost a little silly in a way, but George is not this Machiavellian, self-interested monster that counsel has suggested. The last time George Anthony testified, Mr. Baez brought up the suicide. You'll recall that he asked Mr. Anthony, you know, didn't you attempt to commit suicide? Mr. Anthony said that he did. Mr. Baez asked him, well, didn't you express some guilt in the suicide letter? That's, of course, before you actually would have had a chance to see it. Now, of course, Mr. Baez seems to be telling you that it wasn't really a suicide attempt. It was just a couple of beers and some blood pressure medication. That's not what George Anthony said. George Anthony said he took blood pressure medication and medication he was given for anxiety by a psychiatrist. He took everything he could find, because on January 22nd of 2009, he wanted to die. He wanted to be with Kaylee. That's all he wanted. He was tired of all of it. He was tired of the questions. He was tired of not knowing. He just wanted to be with his granddaughter. And you cannot read this letter and not see that this man was in pain. You can even see the effects of the drugs and alcohol as his handwriting deteriorates through this letter. This is not some self-serving, deliberately created manifesto of innocence. This is the cry of a man who just doesn't understand the world anymore. He doesn't understand what happened to his granddaughter. He doesn't understand why his daughter won't tell him. He just doesn't understand, and he's just tired. Kaylee Marie, I miss her. I miss her. I want my family back. I sit here falling apart because I should have done more. She was so close to home. Why was she there? Who placed her there? Why is she gone? Why? For months, you and I, especially you, always questioned why. I want this to go away for Casey. What happened? Why could she not come to us, especially you? Why not Lee? Who is involved with this stuff for Kaylee? Before that, he says, I blame myself for her being gone. You know, for months, as a matter of fact, for a year or so, I brought up stuff only to be told not to be negative. To denigrate that pain by suggesting that is an insincere, selfish, self-serving statement, I believe belies the facts. I'm going to sit down now, and Ms. Drain-Burdick will address some other areas in the case. I just want to end by thanking you for all of your sacrifices and all of your time, and to wish you well in the decision that you're about to make. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we'll take